Chapter 1. Now, I'm not an unreliable narrator. Trust me. Granted, most unreliable narrators would tell you the same. And I guess I am an unreliable person in a number of ways. But believe me, I'm going to be completely straightforward with you. No surprise twists. I don't turn out to be Kevin Spacey in the end. Take my words with a grain of salt if you must, but try not to worry yourself too much about it. My story begins predictably enough with a girl. Nadine Rogers, the prettiest little girl at Willie Seals High. In the world, really. Long, blonde hair that flows with the majestic grace of a ballet dancer. A baby face that beams the Americana that exists only in popular folk art. A warm, inviting southern drawl, though I don't know if she's at all southern. A scent of strawberries that trails her wherever she goes. A bosom that could eclipse the sun. In fact, you probably could go blind if you stared at her too long. As for me, the name's Deacon Storm. I wasn't quite on the bottom rung of the social ladder, but I was aspiring to one day reach that high. I was so far off the high school radar, I was never picked on or beat up, mostly because no one knew I existed. It was nice being free of such teenage pressures. It also gave me time to work on my game that I planned on using on Nadine. During the time I've spent at Willie Seals High, Nadine has been my raison d'etre. Is that how you pronounce it? I'll figure it out later. Anyway, I remember that first time I laid eyes upon her, which I would later learn was actually about the 7th time I had laid eyes upon her. If the movies have taught us anything, it's that every good love story needs to start with a meet-cute. You know, that moment when our protagonists first encounter each other through some ridiculous contrivance, usually butting heads. Over time, the protagonists continue to meet under similarly unbelievable circumstances. Each time, their icy hearts thaw a little until finally, lips meet under the magic of the latest adult contemporary hit. Nadine and I, we didn't so much have a meet cute as we had a meet awkward. It was freshman year, 7th period gym class, 3rd week of the semester. Nadine had been transferred in due to some conflict in her schedule. She arrived during roll call time, and we were all lined up in alphabetical order. I know mine weren't the only eyes upon her as she walked to her spot. Her smile flashed and her eyes sparkled as she got closer to me, Rogers being so close to Storm on the alphabetical chain. The sight of her in short shorts, yeah, that jingle popped into my head too, created a surge, a stirring, a tingling in my nethers. This was a constant fear and worry for me, particularly in gym class. The inconvenient boner. And it was a particularly obvious one that day. She caught sight of it as she walked past. Her cheeks quickly reddened, and she attempted to avert her eyes with such dramatic flourish that she tripped over her feet. All of this only served to bring attention to the situation. As she flew to the floor, my hands flew to cover my crotch, but it was too late. The flurry of giggles spread and grew into laughter. I did the only thing I could do. Run out of there crying. There was no way I could return to the site of my humiliation, so I forged a note from my mom, signed Deacon's mom so that they could be sure who it was from, to keep me out of gym class for the rest of the year. But the painful memory was not enough to erase Nadine from my mind. It took me the next 4 years of high school, give or take, to build up the courage, but I was finally going to ask her out. I just needed to find the perfect time to do it. I noticed that after 3rd period, I passed by Nadine on my way up to the 5th floor. So all I'd have to do is follow her down to wherever she was going instead of heading straight to my calculus class. Then I could make my move, which could prove difficult and possibly disastrous, considering the swarm of students on the stairs. But there really was no other opportunity. I walked up the stairs till I saw her coming down the opposite way. I nonchalantly switched streams, so to speak. I walked down in close proximity to her. I could smell her perfume, which was kind of strong. I worried that it might cause me to choke on my words, but I was determined. "Hi, Nadine." Silence. I hadn't realized how easily my voice could get lost in crowd noise. Nadine?" I said a wee bit louder. She turned to me with an apologetic look on her face. "Oh, I'm sorry. Was that directed towards me?" "Well, I don't know too many other Nadines at this school." She laughed uncomfortably. "I guess that's true. Do I know you?" "I'm An inconsiderate meathead muscled past me, pushing me into Nadine. Being so close to her body, I lost my train of thought. "This might not be the most opportune time to talk," she said. "Well, I was just wondering if, maybe sometime you and I..." At this point, we had reached the 2nd floor. I could already sense I blew it. "Look, I'd love to have this conversation, I really would. But this is my stop, and with only 5 minutes before my class starts, I don't know if I have enough time to properly process and respond to what you're saying. Sorry, maybe next time we'll get a real chance to talk." And then a tide of students separated us. It wasn't quite mission accomplished, but hey, she did smile and wave at me. I had made some headway.